so I got to get all this other stuff in, right?
Hey, welcome back to Healthy Ambitions. I'm Dr. Tammy, and I'm here with Dr. Patrick McMullin, and better known as Doc. We like to call him that. We're talking a little bit about taking responsibility for your well-being, and before break, we kind of talked about the base that you sort of work from. And
yes, and unfortunately or fortunately, it got a little deeper the older that I got. It can sound simple enough, but it really it takes a bit of doing. I always say if you kind of tweak the thinking just ever so slightly, things look very, very different. And so anyway, I'd like to share a little of that deeper part with you, in that if it's not real, it doesn't count. It won't hold up. We have over a 50% divorce rate. But the good news is there aren't that many marriages to begin with. It takes something for marriage. It certainly takes something for a sacramental marriage. It takes real love and community. That's the whole idea of sacramentality, and so the only way to get at reality is spontaneity. If teachers go to school with lesson plans, they've already done their lesson plan. It's right here on paper. And now they go in and they're bored with their job, or they're frustrated with little Johnny because he's he doesn't really care.
now, what's the difference in spontaneity and flexibility?
You can be flexible within your spontaneity, or you can be spontaneous in your flexibility. It can go both ways,
Because it's good to have a plan sometimes.
I am never
I have a schedule,
against
with my day and the people I'm going to see, but I never know when I walk in the room what that experience is going to be like.
And that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that I can remember I had a staff of people many years back in an alcohol, drug / psychiatric unit, and I would do what was called a SOAPing, subjective objective assessment and plan, and every Monday morning. And one of my counselors said, I said, "Who's got so-and-so?" And I said his name, and he was a lawyer. And one of my counselors said, I've got him. And I said, "What's your plan? Have you got any kind of thought concerning what road you're going to take him down to get him to see some light?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to confront him today at 3 o'clock. And
Confront, that's strong terminology.
Yeah, and he actually had a time for it. He was going to be real confrontive at 3 o'clock, and I had to educate him before he hurt somebody. You can't plan for confrontation. It happens, and it doesn't have to be a negative, by the way. It does not have to be a negative. Sometimes people need to know things. Anyway, so spontaneity equals reality, and but we're pretty comfortable with a plan. We like the road that we travel in terms of going to work. We like because we've gotten comfortable with it. And I would suggest to you that being uncomfortable is just not a bad place to be every now and again, and it really does help us to grow.
I've heard that terminology, comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely, that safety box. If you don't stretch, everything we have is a muscle, including what's between here. It's a muscle. It has to be used. If all we do, there's really no meaningful need for thought if we already know what the conclusion is going to be. That's just a fact. And that's why Einstein accessed so much more of his brain. He looked at problems. He didn't wallow in his solutions. He went on to a new problem. Well, there you go. And we have enough problems. I'm not suggesting we should all sit around all day and pound on problems. But I am suggesting that married people ought talk and discuss their feelings and their doubts and their frustrations and their this and that and their joys and pleasures and all of that go along with that ought to go along with marriage. For example, I've been marriage counseling for all of these 40 years too. I don't see a lot of that going on. I just don't see it happening. This person has a life, this person has a life. At some point they come together briefly, and we're often at it again tomorrow. So there's a couple things I want to tie together before we're through, and I'm not quite sure how much time we have.
This time goes so fast, it's amazing, but I think we got probably about 8 minutes or so.
All right, so I can talk about this. I am a huge lover of love. I just think that love is, boy, when God created man, we really got it all. We really, really got it all. And sometimes it embarrasses me, the things that we ask for. We've been given all of it. There's nothing going on in this world that we couldn't solve in a heartbeat.
Our ability to take things for granted almost seems larger than our ability to love sometimes.
Yes,
yeah,
by all means, and it's oftentimes the right person walked right past us, and our fear of rejection, just that petty stuff that we walk around with, didn't allow us to go say hi and whatever else. Something spontaneous, hopefully. But at any rate, and God is love. And so if we're going to access God, we're going to have to access love. Ours. It does not matter that God lives inside of us. It means nothing unless we access that. The broom's in the broom closet. At least that's where I left it. Now, if I open that door, I probably could access my broom. But if I don't access my door, I can't access my broom. If I don't open this up, if I don't stop being afraid and tie myself up so tight that you can't get in to hurt me. Well, if you can't get in to hurt me, I can't get out to love you. Double-edged sword here, and you're going to get cut both ways. And so, at some point we're going to have to realize that that we've got to stop being afraid, start working on our courage, and say hello to people, and get to know people, and don't be afraid that you might be rejected. The only condition that love can exist and flourish is vulnerability. If I can't allow my loved one to hurt me, then I can't allow my loved one to love me. I can't do it. I've tied myself up too tight, and I'm safe. But that's just a good argument for reincarnation. And I don't discuss that typically or argue about it, but it certainly is a base for that discussion.
Reincarnation, even in our own lives, we reincarnate ourselves
Absolutely.
every day.
Rebirth,
new.
Death and rebirth, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. It's the essence of the Bible. Death and rebirth, death and rebirth, death and rebirth. Christ being asked, Master, where is the kingdom? And he answers, it's not out there, where you can touch it and see it and all of that. The kingdom of God is found inside of you. Right. Love, 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 and love.